Yeah, I felt very red-faced going and buying this game. Hi everyone and welcome. Thanks for pressing play. Thanks for joining me once again and welcome to another Gaming Grabs video with myself, Pixel Paul. If you are not already subscribed to the channel, if you can hit that subscription button, that would be very much appreciated. And yes, we're back with more Gaming Grabs from the last couple of weeks. And they are literally from here, there and everywhere, these games. There's quite a few to get through, but I've been to various places over the last few weeks. I've been to Morecambe, back to Morecambe, which is the little town on the coast on the north of England. I've been to car boot sales, charity shops, cash generator, Game. I've been back to Game in the Trafford Centre, which you may know about if you've seen some of my other Gaming Grabs videos. And of course, CEX. So I think the best place to start this time will be with the charity shop pickup, just because it's the biggest one and we'll get that out of the way first. So this was a bit of a chance pickup, chance buy. I actually saw this advertised through the charity shop Facebook page, spotted that they had this Xbox 360 original version. I'll say it's an original version, but it's got the HDMI connector on the back. But yeah, £15 this was. It was a little bit grubby when I picked it up, I must admit, but I give it a good clean up, and happy to say that it works perfectly. It's in really actually nice condition. Someone's really looked after it, other than it being that little bit grubby. But yeah, I just thought my current 360, which you can see just there, the disc tray is a little bit twitchy, and I've got so many Xbox 360 games, and I do like the 360, that I thought if I could get this as a backup, that would be a good idea to do. So yeah, £15. I did test it out and it was fine. No red ring of death, thankfully. And it's lasted this long, so I'm thinking hopefully, you know, as a backup 360 in a way. I think Pixel Jr. is actually eyeing this up, maybe for his bedroom as well, so we'll see. But yeah, not a bad little pickup. That it had all the leads, all the power pack. Didn't have a controller. Didn't have a game in it, sadly, in the disc tray. Someone must have checked. But yeah, nice little pickup from the charity shop, which I've not had a huge amount of luck with recently. So yeah, pleased to grab that. So next up, we'll go with the stuff I got from a car boot sale. This is going back a couple of weeks. This is the usual car boot sale that I go to in Bolton. I can't remember much about the sale, actually. I remember it being massive. I think it may have been like the bank holiday. So we have the bank holiday in the UK. I think it was the bank holiday weekend that I went, and it was absolutely heaving. The busiest one we've had so far. There wasn't a great deal there. As always, I always get there a little bit later. I almost feel like I'm sort of treating the car boot sales as an extra challenge in a way, in that I'm trying to spot the stuff that maybe the resellers have missed, which gives it an extra twist, I guess. But I'd managed to pick up a couple of bits. I honestly can't remember who I picked them up from, but they were only £1 each. And it's actually, the first one is, I've been on a bit of a run with some of these games where they are games that I've never seen before or did not know about before. So you may, I think in the last video, I picked up and showed you a game on the Xbox 360 called Stoked, which was a snowboarding game. I'd never seen that before, and I posted it on Instagram actually, and the amount of people that had never seen this game before was quite surprising, really. And I know a lot of people are now going out trying to find it. So yeah, Stoked on the Xbox 360, not one I'd heard of before. And this was another game that I was not aware had come out for the PlayStation 2. I'm aware of this series, obviously, but I wasn't aware that there was a version of this on the PlayStation 2. And it is International Track and Field for the PlayStation 2. Konami game, athletics, obviously, track and field sort of sports game. Don't know a huge amount about it. And judging by the box and the sort of box art, I think this must have been quite an early PlayStation 2 game. But yeah, I thought, yeah, like I said, I've never seen it in sort of CEX or anything like that before. I paid £1 for it. I think in CEX it actually only goes for about 50p, so I have paid a little bit extra for it. But like I say, I've never ever seen this out and about. I checked it on the CEX app, and there is quite a few copies, but yeah, I just never have sort of come across it. So yeah, interesting little pickup from there. And then the second game from the car boot sale, another PlayStation 2 game. I do actually have this game already, but not this version. And the game is Primal. And this is the collector's edition of this game. It has a really nice sort of silver, not quite holographic effect, but it's like a silver foil collector's edition front cover. So when I saw that for £1, I thought, yeah, let's grab that. I quite like the cover on that. It's better than the original cover. Primal, the game is okay. It's a bit of a mediocre third-person hack and slash game. It's all right. It has a bit of a cult following, actually, to be fair, but it's yeah, it's not a bad game, but it's just okay. But this version of it is this sort of collector's edition. Really nice box, really fully complete, instructions and everything for £1. Thought, yeah, I'll add that in. Next up, we will have a look at the CEX games. Only a couple of CEX games this time. I am starting to find that, I don't know, maybe because I do tend to go to the sort of same stores, but I'm finding it sort of slim pickings and hard to find stuff that I haven't got now from CEX. So you are kind of now keeping your eye out for the more niche games or rare games even, but trying to find those ones that are still at a decent price and that you can afford. So one of these is a bit of a a buy that I've been after, or a game that I've been after for a while and wanted to try. And the other is, again, I really like this original version of this game. I don't know why I've never picked up this version of it though. It is Super Street Fighter 4 on the PlayStation 3. I love Street Fighter 4. I really enjoyed playing that on the Xbox 360. One of the few games I actually ever played online as well. But for some reason I've just never picked up Super Street Fighter 4. I think there's Ultra Street Fighter 4 as well, which I've never played. But yeah, £4. It was quite a nice copy of it, so I thought I will pick that one up. And then the sort of more, I don't want to say it's rare, it's not rare, but it's a bit more sort of niche perhaps. You don't see it around too much. It's a game that I've quite sort of fancied playing. I've never played it before. It is the X-Files on PlayStation 1. So this comes in one of those double kind of cases. Really smart, kind of shiny X-Files logo on the front. Really like that. 4-discer this one is. Whoops. It's always that third disc that comes out of these boxes. They always end up being a bit loose. But yeah, 4 discs. Yeah, I think I paid £15 for this. I know I've not been going through the prices of these because some of them I can't actually remember. They were that long ago. But I paid £15 for this. And I did check the CEX app and just happened to see this on there, and it has either gone up recently to £18 or they mispriced it. I don't know, but it is now £18 for this. So I've got it just before it's increased in price. I've had a quick go of it. It's essentially like a point and click game, really, with lots of sort of like FMV footage with the original cast from X-Files. You won't be able to see much there, but yeah, it's interesting. It's, yeah, like I say, point and click game, quite sort of slow paced. I did sort of play through the first maybe 10-15 minutes and couldn't get out of the office that I started in. So yeah, I need to invest some time into it because I do quite like the X-Files. I like the first couple of series of the X-Files, and this game has always intrigued me. So I am quite looking forward to playing that one. Now, I have been back to game in the Trafford Centre, and I know I said that I probably wouldn't be able to find many more games in the Trafford Centre, and then I went and found a bunch of, I think it was Xbox One games at one point. I've been back in there recently, and they have another sort of unit dedicated to games with 50% off. The vast majority of them were PlayStation 4 games this time, and there were some decent, interesting games in there. Some of them I've got, some of them I know are not really worth picking up because they're not that great, or they were overpriced even with the 50% off, so I avoided them. But I did pick up a few. There were some Xbox One games, a couple of PlayStation 5 games there too, but you do have to root through and find which ones are sort of like the best prices and which ones are the best games to get. But yeah, I think I've done okay. I've picked up a couple. Actually, all three of these are games that I've had my eye on for a bit in one sort of form or another. So the first one is Arcade Spirits. These are all PlayStation 4 games as well. So the markup price was $6.99 on that. So I've got that for £3.50 with the 50% off. I think this is basically a like novel kind of story, one of those storybook kind of games. Visual novel, that's what they call them, isn't it? Always looked quite sort of interesting, and I'm starting to quite like these quirky niche games. So Arcade Spirits, £3.50. Quite looking forward to giving that one a go. Now this one is a game that I don't know a huge amount about. I've never played it, but one of my friends a while ago actually sort of recommended this game and said it's really good and you should give it a go. I'm not 100% certain it's my kind of game, but his recommendation was good enough. I thought at this price as well, I shall pick it up and finally give it a try. And it is Scarlet Nexus. So this was $5.99 marked up, 50% off, £3. PlayStation 4 version, but there is a PlayStation 5 upgrade available on it, which I will probably do. Yeah, it was a while ago that my friend recommended this one to me, so it's taken a while for me to get round to it, but yeah, I will see what that one is like. And then the last game from game So a couple of weeks ago, another YouTuber, SNEStastic, did a pickups video on a PlayStation 1 game. I can't remember the name of the PlayStation 1 game itself, but it's basically a version of what was called Super Bonanza Brothers or something like that, perhaps. But anyway, I can't remember. I think it was called Super Pang in Japan. I'm not sure if we got it over here as Super Pang. I honestly can't remember. And I think the PlayStation 1 game may have just been called Pang. But he had a playthrough of it, and it sort of rang some bells. I just really sort of remembered it. And I didn't realise that there was a version of this on the PlayStation 4, Pang Adventures. So as soon as I saw it, I remember SNEStastic doing this on his YouTube video, and thought, yeah, I'm going to grab that because it did look a lot of fun when he was doing the playthrough of it. So yeah, good recommendation, that one. So that was priced up at $14.99. So effectively £7.50 for that one. But it does go for more in CEX. I can't remember the exact amount it goes for in CEX at the moment, but yeah, it's I think that's going to be a decent little addition. It's one of those games you can just pick up and play and crack on with. So yeah, quite looking forward to giving that one a go. Moving on, and another couple of cheapies that I picked up from Cash Generator. I think this was the Cash Generator in Lee, which has just opened not that long ago. And they've got a small sort of game section in there, pre-owned ones. And yeah, these were in there, and I thought, well, I will grab these too. Quite enjoying picking up Xbox games at the moment, original Xbox games. So I've never had this one, never played this one, and it is Galleon. So yeah, that was £1, I think it was. No manual in that one, but you know, for £1, the main thing is that the disc is in there and it works. So yeah, Galleon. Don't know a huge amount about it, but I have seen it around a lot. I think it's a lot more expensive in CEX. Not massively expensive, but it's not £1. I know that. Otherwise, I would have probably picked it up well before now. But yeah, interesting little pickup, that one, Galleon. And then the second one, this was actually another game that SNEStastic, who I mentioned before, had a gameplay video on. I've got a couple of different versions of this already, but this is a slightly different version of it. It's Call of Duty World at War Final Fronts. And I think it was actually this version of World at War that he was playing. So I didn't have this version of it. I can't actually remember what the difference is with this, whether it is slightly different to like the PlayStation 3 version and the 360 version. It's certainly going to be different to the Wii version, which is actually alright, to be fair. So yeah, again, that was £1, which I think is not a bad price. Again, I can't remember off the top of my head how much it is at CEX, but I know it's not £1. I know it's a bit more than that. So yeah, happy to pick that one up as well. So moving on to the stuff I got from Morecambe. So if you're in the UK, you'll know that recently the weather has been absolutely atrocious, absolutely biz. But we did manage to get one day, it was a Saturday, where the weather wasn't too bad. So we had a quick trip out to Morecambe. You know, the game stores that are in Morecambe, I've mentioned them before. There's Lee's Games, and there's a couple of other stores which I've not bought too much from before, but I will save possibly a bit of a game hunt in Morecambe with those 2 or 3 shops, I should say, for another day. But I did pick up a few things while I was in Morecambe, but it was a beautiful day, absolutely gorgeous. Whenever I've been to Morecambe before and done videos, you'll have seen the weather's always been rubbish, but for once the sun was shining, we had fish and chips, we had ice cream, and I had a good little game hunt as well. So the first game I picked up was from Mega Games, which I've been in once before, but I didn't have a huge amount of time to have a look around. But yeah, I went in this time, and yeah, it's not a bad little store actually. Very small, it's only a very small sort of unit, but it's packed to the rafters with games. So yeah, it's worth a look if you're around there. It's worth a quick look in there. And this game, I felt a little bit red-faced buying this game. I must admit, I don't know why. there's a lady that works in there. I don't know if she owns it or whether she just works in it, but it was just me and this little lady in the shop. When I brought this game over to the till, I just felt a little bit, I don't know, uncomfortable. But yeah, this is a game that I have been looking for a while. It's quite expensive on CEX. I think on CEX at the moment it's £20. There's not a huge amount of copies of it. It's a wrestling game on the Xbox 360, and I do like wrestling. I do like the wrestling games. And I know when this one came out, it reviewed it all right. It was okay. But yeah, I don't mind wrestling games. They don't have to be WWE games either. I will play literally any kind of wrestling game. I always quite enjoyed the TNA game, to be honest, as well. And speaking of TNA, the game that I bought is Rumble Roses XX or double X. I'm not sure. So yeah, don't judge me. It's actually not a bad game, to be fair. I'd sort of call it maybe a bit of more of an arcade-like wrestling game. If you were to say mix Dead or Alive, Extreme Volleyball, perhaps without the volleyball, with something like Saturday Night Slam Masters, it's a bit more like that. It's a bit less of a sort of simulation game than the WWE games are. I have had a quick go of it for research purposes, of course, and yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Don't think there's a huge amount of depth to it particularly. There's a degree of button bashing to it as well, which is, like with arcade games. But there's plenty of options in there. There's customizable characters. There's photo modes. There's all sorts of stuff going on in there, and the presentation of it is really pretty good. So yeah, Rumble Roses XX. I know there is a PlayStation 2 version of this, the original version of it as well, which is kind of on my radar. And having played this one, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting the PlayStation 2 game as well. But yeah, Rumble Roses. And then the final few that I got were all from Lee's Games. So yeah, went into Lee's Games as usual when I'm in Morecambe. Saw Andy, had a quick chat with Andy. Always a good lad, always good to have a chat with. And yeah, got a few nice games here. So the first three were in a 3 for £5 deal, and I picked up Xbox version of Reign of Fire. Again, I've never played this game, so I quite like the film. I didn't mind the film. I know it didn't sort of promise or deliver on kind of what you expected it to from the trailers and the posters, one sheets. But yeah, interested to see what this one's like. It's always usually relatively cheap as well, but I just never sort of got around to picking it up. So I saw this in a 3 for £5 in there and thought I will grab that this time. Next up, so I had one other game and then I was kind of searching for another game to get in this offer. There weren't too many in that I didn't have, but I did spot this one and thought, looks alright, I shall pick this one up as well. And it is Reckless, the Yakuza Missions. Don't know much about the Reckless series particularly. I don't know if it's a racing sort of game or whether it's more of a like Demolition Derby type game or even like Twisted Metal or something. I'm not sure, but it looks okay, looks interesting, really nice condition as well. So that was in the 3 for £5, and then the last one I got in that 3 for £5 was a copy of the Xbox version of Freedom Fighters. So I talk a lot about this game because I really, really love it. I think it's an underrated hidden gem that should have had a sequel. It never did. So yeah, when it was in that offer, I thought I will pick that one up as well. I think I've got the PlayStation 2 version, which I've always had. I've got the GameCube version as well. So now I have the Xbox version as too. I've only ever played the PlayStation 2 version, so when I next decide to maybe have a quick run through of it, I will have to decide whether to go with the Xbox version or the GameCube version. Let me know which is better if you've played either of those two. But yeah, Freedom Fighters, classic game, really love that one. Speaking of classic games, the next one I got was on the GameCube, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. So that was £7, which I thought was a pretty reasonable price for a GameCube game, and especially one of this caliber, because it is I think, an all-time classic. I know most people kind of prefer Warrior Within, but for me this is the best Prince of Persia game. Really enjoy it. Again, I've got the PlayStation 2 version, but I haven't got this on the GameCube. And I thought at that price, that was quite a decent buy. I'm trying to sort of increase my GameCube collection a little bit steadily. It's so pricey though, the GameCube games, that it's kind of hard to build that collection up without paying over the odds for some of the games. So yeah, Prince of Persia at £7. Happy with that one. And then the last one is, again, this is a game that I've kind of been after for quite some time, because whenever I've sort of seen online sort of the blogs or whatever about like hidden gems and that sort of thing, this is a game that sort of its name crops up quite often. I think when it came out, it was largely overlooked. I don't think it didn't sell very well particularly, but it is becoming increasingly more difficult to find it. Andy actually said that he'd got this copy in only the day before I picked it up, so I was quite lucky to grab this at that time as well. But yeah, I've been looking for this for a while. There are some copies in CEX, and it is a little bit cheaper in CEX, but like there's no copies of it near me. I think they're all down south, at the south of England, so I'll be paying the extra on with postage. So the price I paid is probably fair, and it's the Red Star, and I got that for £8. So chances are you might not have heard of this game. It's based on a comic book, and it's basically like a scrolling beat 'em up in a way. But there are kind of elements of like bullet hell games, if you like, as well. So when you come across a boss towards the end of each level, usually they kind of spray bullets out at you while you have to try and avoid and shoot back and hit them or what have you. So it's kind of a cross of two different types of game. I have played through the first level or two, and it is actually alright. It's a bit rough around the edges, and obviously being on PlayStation 2, it's still having to look its age a little bit, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I still actually think this is, yeah, I'd go along with it and agree that this is a bit of a hidden gem. I have quite enjoyed those first two levels that I played. You won't be able to see too much of it, but it's probably worth a quick sort of search on the internet to check it out, because yeah, I think it is a bit of a hidden gem, that one. I was quite happy to pay it at that price as well. Like I say, it is a bit cheaper in CEX, but it's hard to come by these days. I think it has come down in value a little bit, because not that long ago I seem to remember this being sort of up there about the sort of £20 mark as well. So yeah, happy to pick that one up finally. And those are the gaming grabs that I picked up over the last couple of weeks. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. Hope you like that little run through of those games. I'm going to give them a quick clean up, take all the prices off, and let you have a closer look at them before the end of the video. But as always, all that's left for me to say is thank you for joining me once again. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, if you can hit the subscription button, give the video a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.